So, my dears, today we're talking about why regulating doesn't need to be hard work. And I'm sure that many of you still think, when they have a business or building a business, oh my God, it's going to be a lot of work to regulate myself. No, there's just a few things you really need to figure out. And I'm telling you some secrets here. So let's start with the most important, I think, and that's sleep. We need more sleep than we think. I believe so. So what I did first was I changed from having about 6-7 hours of sleep to 10 hours. And if I want to do a nap during the day, I allow myself to do a nap. And I don't put a time limit on that nap. Mostly it can be like 15-20 minutes, but it could also go up to 2 hours if I'm exhausted. Depends, right? So that's really, really important, sleep. And my own experience is if I wake up after a few hours of sleep, my system feels really deregulated. Yeah, because in sleep, I'm processing a lot. So does everybody. But then if I add up a few more hours of sleep, so I decide, okay, I'm going to sleep a bit more, I feel refreshed. So this is a very simple way, which will only take a bit of your scheduling. And of course, for me, it takes going to bed earlier, actually. So having a bedtime and understanding that after midnight, nothing should be running anymore and we should be going to bed, right? And another thing to regulate yourself easily is to go for a walk. And I'm not talking about a half an hour walk or even not a 15 minutes walk. Let's start with a 5 minutes walk, if possible. And if possible, of course, in nature. And when we have a short time to do this walk, it's important to connect to nature. So what's the difference between what I do and many others do is I walk barefoot and I feel on my feet. I look down on the ground. I connect to what is. I touch the tree. I hear and listen to the leaves and the wind. And that is an active focus. So I'm shifting my focus to these things. And that deeply calms my system. And for when you go for a walk and you have the luxury of being in nature, which also then would refer to your life's decision, where do you live, where do you decide to live, right? And this is something that building a legacy, and with my one-to-one clients, this is something that we work deeply with. So if you're building a legacy, of course, at some point you want to have your dream surrounding, to regulate yourself easily and just live in peace and enjoy. So, but this is also for me to share how we can get started. So the whole nature has a nervous system too. So when you focus on nature and you connect to nature with your senses, you're dropping into the nervous system of nature. And that regulates you. And what you're also doing, and that refers to one of my articles that I just wrote today, is that you don't regulate with other people because that just becomes codependency. And very often they cannot regulate us in the way that we want. Anyways, so we have to find sources that is just us or nature outside to regulate. So we're not dependent anymore. So if we're in a state of, I'm in a state of shock or in a state of trigger, I know what to do. Yeah. And that happens more often. It happens several times throughout the day because the nervous system is super sensitive to anything you've experienced ever, anything I've experienced ever, right? So it's good to know that. And in the beginning, I was so ignorant to my nervous system. I got triggered and things happened, but I was ignorant to my nervous system. And I'm not anymore. Yeah. So this for today, a few thoughts about regulating yourself, and I'm very, very curious what you think about it, so share in the comments. And yes, to the fact that the more regulated you are, the more discomfort you can hold, the more in tune with yourself you can work, and the more successful you are, and the more fun it is, and deep the experience of it. And isn't that what we really truly want? Once stepping out of survival, that's the go-to, is a good life. And from that good life, we want to strive. We want a deep life. We want a fulfilling life. And that's where the journey goes. Chosen legacy. This is Lisa, a moment with Lisa. Break from life. I'm happy to have you. And thank you for being here, and take care of yourself.